Hi, Allison. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself and how you got into your business?
Well, thanks for having me on your show, Dana. My name is Allison, but AKA people know me as the boss lady in sweatpants. Yep. And I am a podcaster and I am an Instagram coach. And, getting into my business just kind of evolved over
Mhm.
time. But I was a mom with two kids and I had that passion to, I want to build a business from home and I want to be able to work in my sweatpants. So
Yes. Yes. I remember when I first came across your podcast. I will get into how I got to know you in a minute, but when I came across your podcast and I saw your name, I was like, yes, like somebody who gets it, someone who gets it.
Right?
And we've had the conversation before that my daughter absolutely loves not only your name, but your podcast. We were in the car the other day and she said, Mommy, are we going to listen to Boss Lady in Sweatpants?
Oh, that is so sweet. I love that.
Yes. So I found you through, I'm trying to think of the show. It was Stephanie Gass. Right?
Mhm.
Yeah, so I listened to one of her podcasts and you happened to be the guest that day. And that is what made me jump over to you because of some of the things that you were saying on there. And so then I think I joined your Facebook group and then your Instagram. I just started stalking you all over social. Because
That's okay, as long as it's only mamas stalking me,
right.
right? Then that's fine. If they're wearing sweatpants, even better.
Exactly. But yeah, I remember that I was pulled towards you because I was jumping over into the Instagram world. And I was like, oh my gosh, I really need some help because you know how you think you know a platform or you think you know how
Mhm.
something works, and then you get there and you're like, I'm not so sure about this. Like, I don't know if I'm doing this right. How did you make the transition to Instagram, or what is it that made you really focus in on Instagram? Because I know that your journey in your business, you kind of alluded to it earlier, is that you kind of came about it in a certain way. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so, I probably 5 years ago when I had the idea of Boss Lady in Sweatpants, I really thought it was just gonna be this online like mom blog. And at the
Hmm.
time, I was involved with an MLM skincare company. And I thought, well, maybe I can use my blog as a way to not only help other moms who are in the same situation where they're spinning their wheels, they might be at home with kids and they're trying to figure out if there's something out there that they can do and build a side gig, contribute financially just to help out or just feel like they have something that's theirs and they can be proud of it. And I was also looking for a way to sell these skincare products that I was into. And that's when I, started really getting into social media. And I thought I was going to focus on Facebook, but then I was introduced to Instagram. And at first, I really wasn't sure what Instagram was all about. And I thought, well, okay, I guess I just got to get on this platform and I'm just going to post all my products all over and people are just going to flood to me and they are just going to buy my skincare products. And, I'm going to be driving that Lexus in 2 years. And I just thought it was going to be that easy. And, lo and behold, I was going nowhere on
Yeah.
Instagram and I almost gave up on it. But there was something about it that pulled me in because at that time I was starting to notice other entrepreneurs.
Hmm.
And when I started my website, I didn't really understand that term of, being an entrepreneur. I was like, I just thought, I didn't really know what that was or what that looked
Hmm.
like. So I really started watching what other people were doing at first on
Hmm.
Instagram. And then I got into a membership, and this person was really teaching how to grow your business, how to choose the one platform that you want to focus on. And
Hmm.
at the time, I really enjoyed Instagram.
Yeah.
So I dug my heels in the dirt and I was like, all right, this is going to be my platform and I'm not turning back. And I'm so
Yeah.
glad I did because I really enjoy it. And I get excuse me, I get that frustration, all the time from women. Like they get on, they're excited, right? We're
Mhm.
excited. And then it's all of a sudden like, oh, wait a minute.
Like nothing's happening.
This is a lot more
Yeah.
than I thought. Yeah. So, but
Yeah.
that's how it started for me. And, Instagram is not overnight. I say that all the time. And,
Mhm.
and lately there is so much more on there and I'm
Yeah.
seeing more frustration. So my goal is to really give women the power back to use Instagram the way they want to use it and stop
Yes.
listening to what everyone else is telling you to do. No.
Following what everybody else is doing.
Yes.
I mean, it seems like so many cookie cutter things I'm seeing. And I think on one of your posts or your I don't know, podcast episodes or something, you made the comments like just do you and stop trying to mimic what everybody else is doing. Stand because that's what's going to make you stand out and want to make people follow you. Right.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it goes back to you really need to clarify your own brand.
Mm-hmm.
What do you stand for? Who
Yes.
are you and how do people perceive you? Because we
Mhm.
have to remember that our brand is really not what we say it is. It's what other people say it is.
Everybody else, yes. And what they need. You it's like if I'm giving you what I need, that's not necessarily what you as my customer needs.
Right,
Right.
right.
So yeah. Yeah, I totally get that. And you're right. I mean, with Instagram, I've kind of had the same feeling as you in that it just resonated with me and that I'm very visual and so being able to see the images and connect with people from a social standpoint as well. I mean, it just really holistically fit who I was, but it was not an instant gratification thing. Like I was out there posting, I'm like, okay, I'm getting like two likes or no comments, and that can be very discouraging if that is your sole purpose. Like if that's what you need is to have some likes on your post, then you may not be gratified. Whereas having the conversations and the communications and feeling like somebody, I think that has that's a shift of your thinking.
Right. And it goes back to your intentions. I
Mhm.
say this all the time with my clients like, well, why are you on Instagram in the first place?
Right.
Like
Right.
clarify that for yourself because initially we might be drawn to it because that's what everyone's doing.
Mhm.
Like everyone right now is on this Clubhouse
Yeah.
and I'm just like, well, I'm on it. And everyone's like, are you going to dive in? I'm like, I'm just going to see how it goes.
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
going to let it play out and maybe eventually I will be on Clubhouse and get active. I'm like, but I'm not going to turn my back on my one platform where people
Right.
expect me to show
Right.
up.
It's almost like an addition, right? So you Instagram is your main, and it's my whole thing is it's okay to have more than one platform, but you're going to have that main place where you are always showing up, and then that secondary platform. That's kind of how I am with LinkedIn.
Yes. Yes.
And
So
that is my secondary.
when I plan all my content in my brain, I plan my content for Instagram and
Mhm.
for my audience on Instagram. And then I'll look at that and I'll say, what content can I repurpose
Mhm.
on other platforms still so I still have a presence on
Right.
the other platforms. I'm not totally like ghosting it.
Mhm.
So like LinkedIn, I might only show up like twice a week,
Yeah.
but I'm showing up with the same kind of content. I'm always sharing my podcast episodes.
Mhm.
People
Mhm.
know she's got the podcast and
Yeah.
she's here to share her
Well,
episodes.
and that's interesting because what a lot of people I think miss specifically with social media is that the audience that's on Instagram isn't necessarily the audience that's on LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter. They're all a little different, and so you can't treat them all exactly the same. And to your point, LinkedIn, because it is a professional network, I'm not going to go on there posting pictures of my daughter all the time,
Right.
because that's not what that audience is looking for. That's not what they're there for. And so I think people need to realize that it's okay to post some of the same content, but at the same time, you have to be aware of your audience as well.
Absolutely.
Do you tend to post when you are, spreading your content around? Do you post the same content at the same time on all the platforms, or do you kind of say, okay, on Instagram, I plan to post this on Monday, so on Facebook, I'm going to post this on Thursday?
I do try to do that as best as I can. I like to spread it out, but
Mhm.
there are times where, you're going to be busy if you're wrapped up in interviews all day, or if you're going to be wrapped up in a 3-day mastermind,
Mhm.
then I'm going to utilize a third party and I'm going to schedule my posts. So for
Mhm.
example, I actually am starting to use Tailwind for Instagram, and then you can just
Mm.
click the little button for Facebook and it'll do
Wait a
both of them at the
second.
same time, right?
Wait a second. Like I knew Tailwind was Pinterest, but I didn't know you could do it with Instagram.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
So I'm kind of on the Tailwind aspect now,
Okay.
testing that. It's really interesting. They post on your behalf the same way they do Pinterest. They have
Mhm.
all the times.
Mhm.
They have the same thing with Instagram. So I can drag that post to the
Mm.
time I want, and they will post it on my
Interesting.
behalf. Yeah. And then they'll put it to Facebook. So
Mm.
I am utilizing that a little bit just to test the
Yeah.
waters,
Yeah.
see if I'm getting the same engagement, the same reach, because I try to
Mhm.
post in real time. I prefer to be there in the moment when I
Yeah.
post so
Yeah.
I can be engaging, but we always can't do that. It's
Right.
not a perfect system. It's not a perfect world.
Mhm. Yeah, it's interesting. I sent you a message this morning about my whole Reels
I
experience.
was so excited.
Oh
That
my
made
God.
my day.
You should have seen me this morning. Like literally, I was sitting there, I was going through, the videos on my phone. I was like, oh, this is a little short one. Let me just go ahead. I'm just gonna post it. And literally I posted it. It was less than 15 seconds. And I was just like, I'm just gonna post this. And I put my phone down and went to do something else. And I came back, an hour later and 3,000 views. It floored me, especially because I had done a couple of little reels, not really having any intention, and had 100 maybe 200 views over like a month period of time. Time. And when I pulled it up right before I got on the call with you, so it's at 4,090 views now, 63 likes, and then I know my follower count is up by 3.6%
That's
by
awesome.
one post. And I was like, I have got to tell Allison this. I
The
have
power of reels. I know the
yes.
power of reels. But I think when people are very they're a little afraid to try a new feature on
Mhm.
any platform, stop watching what other people are doing
Yes.
and utilize that new feature how you want to,
Mhm.
because that's how you're going to stand out.
And
That's
there's
what I keep telling people.
somebody came up with the whole words with the pointing and the music. One person came up with that and everybody else copied it.
Yes.
So it's almost like having the mentality of let me be that first person that everybody else wants to copy.
Yes, yes. And I always say, and I know you've seen this on my Instagram, and it's catching on, but you know that I have a love for Marvel
Mm-hmm.
and I love the villain Loki. But I
And
always
I've
say, but
never
when
heard of
you're on,
Loki. I'm just gonna tell the truth.
oh
I was
no, no.
like, who is this Loki person?
Well, he is a villain. He is a villain in the Marvel series, okay? And he is known to mimic other people
Mm,
and transform what's going on around him at
mm,
his own benefit. But at the end of the day, it never works for him. So I
mhm.
always say, when you're approaching Instagram, don't be like Loki.
Don't be like Loki.
Mimic what other people are doing, and don't try to transform your newsfeed. Don't try to transform your content to
Hmm.
look like somebody else, because at the end of the day, it's not going to work for
It's
you.
not going to work for you.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, when I got on Instagram, the big thing was the white space and having your Instagram feed look just right, and you had the images, and I was like, yeah, that's pretty just visually, but it's so, and no offense to anybody who's listening who has their feed like this, but it's boring. To me, it was boring. It was like, okay, yeah, it's just too perfect. And so I really wanted, for my particular brand, it's colorful, it's happy. I mean, my business is the happiness bucket. So it's, part of my brand is to be happy, to be colorful, and to be authentic. And so I'm like, let it just flow.
Right. And you
And
know what? If you're on brand and you're doing you and you're showing you and you're sticking
mhm,
to, your overall brand, you've heard me talk about this, brand
Yes.
pillars, content categories, it will be cohesive because you're
Mhm.
sticking to your brand.
And it
And
makes sense for you and your
yes.
target market.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I love that you brought up the perfectly cohesive feed because I'm going to tell your audience right now, nobody cares about that anymore. That worked 2 to 3 years ago.
Yes.
But the biggest trend that you're going to see this year, 2021, the biggest trend is people are going to stop following the celebrity type
Mhm.
influencers and they're going to start following your everyday
Every day.
influencers. It's more like me and you because
Mhm.
people want to follow those who mimic of the same lifestyle.
It's like, this is my life.
Yes.
They can relate to me because this is what they're experiencing.
Yes.
I told you I was visual. I love seeing organized homes and organized pantries like the next person. But the truth of the matter is, our homes don't look like that on a daily basis. We don't have assistants coming in making sure our homes stay looking like that 24/7. If you have
Right.
children, if you have a spouse, like if you live by yourself, that's different. But if you have a spouse and children, more than likely your home is not going to look like that. And if it does, you're probably stressing yourself out to make it look like that. And so that is kind of my rule of thumb, I guess, with my clients. Is just like, this is not authentic. It's not specific to your lifestyle. You got to build your processes for you and for your lifestyle and your family, and that's what's going to be right. It's not what works for me, it's what works for you, right? You take
Yeah.
the rules and you apply them. So yeah, I totally get that. Totally get that. So I know that I've got my notes. Y'all see me looking over here because I took a little notes, because I know that the program that I actually got in on, that's the
Mhm.
Social Brand Accelerator. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the Social Brand Accelerator is really a DIY Instagram course, Instagram program, whatever you want to say. Because I know we have a lot of busy mamas that really we want to do it ourselves. And I think that's
Mhm.
just our nature. I think that's just women in general. We're DIYers, right?
Right, right.
So I created this program where it's initially set up for three main modules. And it's really the foundations to Instagram because the biggest question or the biggest frustration I hear from women is I don't know what to post on Instagram or I don't know how to get consistent on Instagram.
Mhm.
And I always find with my clients that we always have to take a step back and take a hard look at their brand, see what pieces are missing, see what kind of mindset shifts we need to have. Maybe we need to fine tune their ideal audience. So that's what the three main modules in this program does. It sets the foundation for Instagram. It gives you complete clarity and it's going to help you grow. So
Mhm.
once you have those three foundations set up and ready to go, then there's all these bonuses in there where I give you the caption templates, I give you the stock photos. I think there's a hashtag mania training in there. This weekend, I'm putting in the Instagram reels. I know I'm going to be adding an Instagram stories kind of challenge in there,
Mhm.
but you really have to have the foundation and you have to have the plan. And that's kind of my thing. You have to have the clarity on your brand.
Mhm.
You need to have a plan. You need to create that plan. And then you have to execute with consistency.
Take the action. Yeah.
Yes. And you have to take imperfect action. I'm going to tell you right now, if you are looking at your feed, your news feed, and you're going to stop yourself from posting because your next picture doesn't fit,
Mhm.
post it.
Yeah.
Just post it because someone out there, especially if it's super valuable information,
Mhm.
someone out there needs it.
Well, and the
Some
truth is, when you see a post come through your feed, it's not beside all your other stuff. The only time you see that is if I've been drawn to come to your feed.
right.
So it's like, if you're thinking from a standpoint of your feed, you're missing out on the fact that you could be touching or connecting with someone in an instant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I know that you do a lot of challenges on
Mhm.
your Instagram. How did you get into doing challenges? Was it just something that you just randomly started, or did you see somebody else doing it? Like, let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, you know what? It was kind of random because I was starting just to get the same kind of questions and feedback and frustrations. And I thought, what can I give these women? Instead of just telling them what to do, I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to create a space where they're going to get immediate wins. And then they're also going to get support and accountability.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I thought, why don't I create these little mini challenges inside my Facebook group? And it seems that people are really liking them. So
Yeah.
I'm doing the Instagram Reels workshop, but the next week, because once I teach it, then the following week, there's a 5-day Instagram Reels challenge. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to set that up in that group where you're not only creating the reel, but then you're going to have women behind you that are going to come support you. They're going to engage with it. And when they engage with it, that's going to send, information to the Instagram algorithm that, wow, this is getting a ton of engagement. So we're going to send it off to the Explorer
Mm-hmm.
tab, and then your reach is going to explode. And you're going to do that for 5 days. So you're going to get the challenge, you're going to get the accountability, and you're going to get support. Because I think that's one thing that seems to be missing
Mm.
on Instagram when you're trying to grow, is getting that support.
And real support, not the clickbait type. Here, follow me, follow me, follow me. But that's not your
Yeah,
ideal audience. But yeah,
right.
yeah.
And so that's my goal of my Facebook group, is to give the accountability and the support
Mm-hmm.
so they can execute on Instagram with consistency and with confidence. That's really
Yeah.
what it is. I really want to give people confidence.
Okay, so you just opened the doors. Pandora's box just opened up. Okay,
Bring it.
okay, so you got your Facebook group. You got
Mhm.
you got the challenge going on. You're teaching it in the Facebook group. Then the challenge is in the Facebook group and on Instagram proper. What line do you draw as far as what you're teaching in your Facebook group versus what you are teaching as part of a paid offering?
I'm the type of person, I don't hold anything back.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't. I don't think that's right, because I don't think, everyone is going to get different pieces of you in different
Mm-hmm.
types of content. Not everyone is going to consume everything that I put out. So
Mm-hmm.
even though I'm doing an Instagram Reels workshop and challenge in my Facebook group, and I'm probably going to transfer that over to my social brand accelerator program, that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean everyone in my Facebook group is going to see it.
Mm-hmm.
And I really believe in over delivering. I will never under deliver. If I'm going to tell you I'm going to teach you how to do reels, I'm going to teach
Yeah,
you
teach.
everything.
And so do you add like extra things to your paid course, or is it pretty much if you find me here, then you pay for it? If you find me here, you just happen to get it for
Yeah,
free?
I will always give more. And my program is lifetime access.
Mm-hmm.
So like anything that I do in my Facebook group, I just let them know, hey, the replay is only going to be up for a week.
Or gotcha. I
So
guess
there you
that's the
go. And then
trigger.
it comes down.
Mhm.
So it has urgency
Mhm.
if you happen to grab it. But if you're in my paid course, you have lifetime access, and I will
Mhm.
always be adding to it. That's how
That's,
I
I
feel.
think, the perfect key is you do it in your Facebook group, you have the challenge, but the Facebook group pretty much falls off after a week or two or whatever your limit
Mhm.
is, and then it moves over to the paid course.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense. Because I was looking at your challenge, like, no, she's doing these challenges, but I know she has the course, and I'm sure this is in the course. So how is that? How is all that working? But
Well,
I
I
think,
think too, it adds to your social proof.
well, and the other thing is, I think, what was I going to say? I had it right there on the tip of my head. Um, with the challenges, you're getting the engagement, you're teaching, you're letting people know your teaching style. I mean, and that's, like I said, I ended up stalking you because I was in the group, I was seeing how, the value that you were adding here. And I was like, okay, let me go over to the Instagram, because that's where I want to kind of be. And that's what she's teaching, and see how she's doing it. And that gave me the social proof to then, when you offered the opportunity to get into the accelerator, I was like, oh yeah, definitely. I jumped on that. I was like, I want to be number one. To get in here. So yeah, so that helped clear up something in my head. So as far as, I know that you were a photographer, am I making that up?
So yeah, so I love photography, and I actually had a stock photo membership where each and every month I would deliver all the stock photos and caption templates for the month. But
Mm-hmm.
it just got way too much. And I wanted to scale my business a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to shut that down and really concentrate on the podcast and on coaching, because what I noticed with the membership, and there's nothing wrong with memberships. If you love doing them and they work for you, great.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't having that connection with my members. It
Mm.
was just like they would just go in once a month, they'd grab their captions, grab
Oh
their
yeah.
photos, and they
With the
would, and
photos,
I don't know, it felt it just didn't feel right to me. I feel like I was not connecting with these women. And so that's why I decided to shut that down and go into the coaching space. And then I'm hoping in the future to, really do some great group coaching and
Mm-hmm.
masterminds down the road
Yeah.
and really help, women grow and scale and soar.
So when it came time for you to shut that down, because I know one of the things that I teach my clients is that, it's okay to pivot in your business. It's okay to, so when something's not working, to stop and ask yourself, why is this not working? What do I need to do? And sometimes what I need to do is to shut it down.
Mm-hmm.
So was that a hard decision for you to make, or was it kind of just an epiphany one day and you said, this is just not working, let me shift?
I love that you bring this up, because I actually wrote an article about it like last April, and it was published in Thrive Global,
Awesome.
because it was one of those moments where my husband was out of town
Mm-hmm.
and I sat up at 11 o'clock at night because I could not fall asleep. And I just sat up in bed and it just hit me on what I needed to do. And I was pacing in the dark in my family room eating Keebler fudge sticks. And I remember having Ross Geller in my brain with the whole couch and the pivot. So that was actually, I think, the title of my article, how Ross Geller and Keebler fudge sticks pivoted my business or
Oh,
something.
that's
Yeah.
fabulous.
But it was just like that moment where I'm like, I gave myself grace and permission to pivot and not hold on to something. Because
That wasn't working.
if we're holding on to something and it's not working,
Yeah.
you just got to let it go.
Yeah.
And I don't believe that there's a lot of people are like, oh, you have to fail to grow. I don't believe in failure.
Mm.
I don't like the word failure. They're
Yeah.
lessons. They're
There are
just little lessons, or
lessons
they're just
learned.
little,
Yes.
yes, or they're just like little blips in the radar. That's like my new thing now, like
Mhm.
my kids with school and being home and trying to, juggle home learning and all that. I'm like, it's just a
Yes.
little blip in the radar. It's
Mhm.
fine. It's fine.
You're prepared for this. So yeah, that's awesome. I'm so glad that we're talking about this, because it's I see so many people, especially right now with the pandemic, and so many
Mm,
changes have happened to people's businesses, and they're trying to hold on to this, what it used to be. And I'm like, but maybe that's not what it was supposed to be.
right.
Maybe this was, I truly believe that God puts he prepares us for where we're supposed to be, and sometimes it's us we're the ones who aren't doing what he has prepared us for, and sometimes he has to put things in our place to just force us to do what we're supposed to be doing. And so I know a lot of people are dealing with that right now because of the pandemic, and I just wanted to give them just some encouragement of understanding, like, it's okay, it's
It
okay
is.
to shift,
Yes.
right? To make
Yes.
that shift. So you have two boys?
I have two boys,
Boys.
16 and 13.
And so I know you've been dealing with homeschooling as well.
Yes.
Now, are they at home full time, or are they kind of in this limbo virtual in-person situation?
So right now they are full-time e-learning at home, but in the next few weeks they will pivot to a hybrid, which they will be
Mm-hmm.
in school 2 days a week, at home 3 days a week. So it's a lot of juggling of the
Mm-hmm.
calendar, but that's okay. They're my priority, and
Yeah.
my family comes first and my business comes second.
I was
I
about to
will,
ask you, what does that schedule look like? And I think that's important for people to understand. It's okay to put your business,
yes.
as the second or third level item on your list.
Yeah. Well, if anyone is struggling with this, if you feel like you're pulling your hair out and you're trying to figure out what you need to do every day, is I sat down over Christmas break and I brain dumped all of the non-negotiable items that I need to
Mm-hmm.
do every single week.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of categorize them because, now I have like set days of the week on what I do instead of
Mhm.
me just having this long to-do list because it'll
Right.
never end.
Right.
So now I have, I categorize my Instagram content, I categorize my days of the week,
Mhm.
what I'm focused on those days.
Yeah.
And then I time block around my son's schedule because there's certain classes that I know he needs my assistance
Mhm.
and help. So I will make sure that I have nothing
Mhm.
in
Going on.
that time block.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I tell you, my daughter's 7 and she goes to a Montessori school. So they are very hands-on, very the stuff they're learning. I'm like, I don't even know that. And like I'm an adult. What the heck is going on? So it has been a struggle. Their school has been in person the entire, well, starting this school year. But then during the like right after Thanksgiving, they went virtual in anticipation of the numbers going
Mm,
up. So she just went back to school Tuesday. And so I was very thankful.
I bet. Yes.
But it made you really, like you said, really focus in and say, what has to be done? How am I going to get this done? And then all the other things that I tend to add to the list, are they really important? And where do they
Mm,
fall in the priority list? Because there are so many things that we tend to focus on that are so not important when it comes to our business.
right.
And this is forcing people to really stop and say, okay, do I really need to be focused on that today?
Well, I like to set 90-day goals
Hmm.
because I'm a multi-passionate person and I want to create everything and anything under the sun, right? And I just want to help everything, everybody with everything.
Hmm.
So anytime I get like an idea,
Hmm.
I actually have a Google spreadsheet where I have, my 5 days of the week, and then I have brain dump ideas next to
Your
it. So it's always,
backlog, that's what I call it.
yeah, so it's always kind of there, it's lingering. But I look at that new idea and then I look at my current 90-day goal and go,
Hmm.
will this idea move the needle on my
Hmm.
current 90-day
Hmm.
goal? If the
Yes.
answer is no, it stays in that log
Hmm.
and I'll visit it, in the next 90 days and see.
Yes. I think that is so important. What I'm a project manager by day. So what I call that is the backlog. So all of the
Mm,
ideas that I have, pretty much like you do, it goes into this backlog and I identify what is my focus for the month. I mean, I do it quarterly, kind of like you do, but for the month, I'm like, I did it quarterly, but then I'm going to focus on this month and what is in this month's focus. And
mhm.
I'm not touching anything else that doesn't meet this. And I think that we've got two people here that are doing the same thing, different ways, but pretty much the same way.
Right.
I think that that's so important, specifically for a side hustling entrepreneur, because we have so many things going on. And if you're a mom, you work a full-time job, you have an entrepreneurship, plus you got to take care of yourself
Right.
and all of that, and your household. Like there's so many things going on. You cannot do it all. You just can't.
Yeah.
So tell me from an organizational standpoint, what is the biggest thing that you struggle with?
Ooh, are we talking business or home?
Either one.
Probably home as far just having my kids here, being organized with like household chores. I used to be so much better with that in the past. But now that we talk about this, I know that I have laundry in the dryer and I
Mhm.
can guarantee it's going to stay there till tomorrow.
Hey.
I mean,
It,
yeah, it's the household chores. It's the
mhm.
constant, it's on the corner of my eye going, I need to do that.
Mhm.
When am I going to do this? So I have not yet found a good way to time block the household chores. And number one,
Mhm.
who likes to do it? Like
Who likes to do it right?
only my mother. My mother loves to clean, and I'm just like, I don't know who you are.
Who are
Who
you?
are you? No, no.
You are
I don't
not
like to
going to be
cook
like
either.
Loki on
So
that one, are you?
no, no, I will not mimic my mother.
Yeah, my husband, it was so funny when we got married. He used to joke with my mom because she is always washing something. He's like, your mom loves to wash. So that's our big thing. We're like, just give it to mom. But I was like, no, I do not love to wash. My daughter loves to wash clothes. And I'm like, you can have that.
Now, does she put them in the dryer and actually folds them?
She will wash them and put them in the dryer. And then she says it's our job to fold them. And I'm like, if it's your clothes, you fold them. If they're
Right?
my clothes or towels or something else, I'll handle that. I will own that. But yeah, one day she decided, she got the little bee in her bonnet. She heard I was washing. She said, Mommy, I want to help. So we did a little lesson plan, gave her all her little steps. And so she does it. And I'm like, go for it.
Well, that's cool too. And I think we need to keep that in mind, that we are only one person. And if your kids are home, give them their own things to do, because it teaches accountability.
It does.
Because I don't pay my kids money for chores.
Me either.
Because I said, guess what? When you move out, no one's paying you to clean your place.
Well, hello, you are part of this household. I don't get paid to do the chores. In fact, you pay me.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate them, and I tell them I appreciate them and thank you for helping out. Your reward is we're going to do fun on the weekends, and I'm going to, when we can go out for movies again.
Right.
And,
but I mean, like, that's their contribution to the household, is my opinion. And so I'm like, if I have to contribute, you have to contribute. And this is what you're capable of doing. One of the things that I talk about all the time is, like, sometimes as parents, we hold our kids back from doing the level of things that they are capable of doing. And so I remember when we were going through this whole washing thing, one day she went in and started washing on her own. I wasn't in there. My husband didn't know we had this conversation and process. So he comes, he's like, what are you doing? And so I hear them going back and forth. I'm like, what is going on? He's like, she's in there messing with the clothes. I was like, babe, she knows how to do it, And he realized, like, oh my gosh, she knows how to do this. I'm like, don't stop progress. Okay.
Right. Well, and they have to learn their own lessons, just like we do as adults. Because I notice that's hard now with my kids, especially my youngest, being home with the e-learning. I want to be a little more involved with his schoolwork. And I have to keep telling myself, no, if he was in school, I would not be sitting right next to him at his desk.
Right.
And it's hard. It's hard to pull back when you're such a nurturer and a giver, but and it's our lessons to learn as well.
It is. And it's funny because that you say that. Her teacher told us, don't be in the room. Like, we can be in listening distance, but they are supposed to log on to Zoom by themselves. They're supposed to submit their homework by themselves. And it was hard in the very beginning, but after a while, I was like, oh my gosh, she knows that device. So, she's just like, Mommy, no, I got it. She does it. And so I think even with organization and chores around the house and different things like that, that we have to trust our kids and encourage our kids. And in some cases, we may have to force them, but to contribute and to do things. Because what I hear from my clients a lot is, well, they say they don't know how. Well, they probably don't know how. Have you taught them? Or is the way that you taught them not the way that you do it? Well, that's not what I'm trying to say. You taught them one way, they're doing it, but they're doing it a different way. It doesn't mean they're doing it wrong. They're just not doing it your way. And so, learning to just kind of pull back and say, I don't fold the clothes like that, but as long as they're getting folded, who cares?
Right.
It was funny. One day, my daughter was folding her pants, and I want to say she was like 5 or something. And so I normally fold pants, you fold them in half and do it like that. Well, she had them laying down, and she took the legs and she folded them up. And I was like, baby, that's not right. And she said, Mommy, I got it. Folded up twice and folded in half. Perfectly folded pair of pants. I'm floored. And I'm like, okay, I need to fold my pants like that.
It's amazing what we can learn from our kids.
Right? So yeah, I'm a big proponent of that. So that is awesome. So that was personal. Any business side of the house?
You know what? I feel pretty good about business side, but once in a while I do have to remind myself to pull away from my business. That sometimes it can be hard because you're just in your groove, or you really I'm the type of person, I don't like to leave things undone. And I like to do the little checking
the box.
Yep, checking the box in my calendar. But you do have to pull yourself away. And I do find when I do pull myself away and do something that's totally not related, when I come back to it, I have more energy and more focus. I was about to say, you have more energy.
Yeah. So you're full-time in your business, right?
Yes.
So do you have set office hours, or are you just coming in and just getting to work?
Yeah, I mean, I try to set office hours, but with the kids' schedule,
Hmm.
I really give myself grace,
Yeah.
and I'm really strict on routines. So I stick to a morning routine. I stick to my exercising and how many days
Hmm.
of the week I do it. They may not be on the same day every week, but
Hmm.
I stick to that schedule.
Yeah.
And then I also stick to my, priorities on the days of the week. So Mondays is always my social media planning day, where Wednesdays is always my podcasting day. So on that day, I will be interviewing, I will be editing, I will be pitching. I
In the
don't know if it's going
closet.
to be, yeah, right. And I'm handing out juice boxes. Get out
Oh
of
my
here.
God, that was so funny. She said, Mommy, but why is she in the closet?
Because I'm hiding from my kids, or
From her
really it's
kids. And that's
hiding from
exactly
my
what I tell her.
barking
I said, she's
dog.
hiding. She's hiding. That is awesome. All right. Well, do you have an offer or anything? I know that you have the accelerator that you want to talk
Mhm.
more about that. I want to give you the opportunity to tell people about your offers.
Well, if they want, I have a load of freebies. So the best place to find that, to get to know me and grab my freebies, it's bossladyandsweatpants.com/resources. That's probably the best place to start. But I
Awesome.
do have an ebook that covers Instagram, and it's to help female entrepreneurs,
Mhm.
explode their engagement in as little as 30 days. It's really kind of like an Instagram makeover in 30 days. And that's only
Awesome.
$7. And
Cool.
then, of course, it's my program or my one-on-one mentorship. So there's a whole range of ways people can work with me.
Awesome. Guys, you definitely got to go out and check Allison out. Thank you so much for connecting with me today. I so appreciate it.
Thank you, Dana.
Been great. I'll stalk you later.